Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Welcome to New Release Review, part of the Movie Friends podcast. My name is Seth. Today we are talking about Sinners from 2025, directed by Ryan Coogler. We will be discussing spoilers throughout this entire episode. So if you have not seen Sinners yet, pause this episode, turn it off, delete it from your history, go see the movie, and then come back and listen. Today I am joined by returning guest and longtime friend of the show, Jamila. Jamila, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm
Even though we already discussed how you are.
I was going to say something like I'm in a sinning mood, but I'm not. So, Sinners is like one of the first universally loved movies in quite some time. Everyone is abuzz, and people who don't go see movies are going to see it. How did you find the film?
I thought it was fantastic. Like, it's probably my favorite Ryan Coogler movie now.
Wow.
I was so impressed by it. And I still feel like it had some issues, but now I'm like, it didn't have as many issues as I anticipated, and I'm just so impressed by the craft and the fact that he made this completely original genre film.
Yeah.
I was already impressed with Ryan Coogler, but I didn't know he had it in him to make such a like highly creative genre film.
Yeah, I agree. I knew that there would be vampires, and I knew that Michael B. Jordan would be playing twins. And beyond that, I really didn't know anything. I kind of just tried to stay away as much as possible.
Were you able to, Seth?
I was, for the most part, yeah. I knew Delroy Lindo was in it because he did an interview on like Mark Maron's podcast, and I pressed play immediately because I was like, oh my God, Delroy Lindo, yes. And then realized like, oh, he's talking about Sinners. I was like, oh, I guess he's in Sinners. Okay, cool. But yeah, I agree. Like, there are a few issues, I suppose. Nothing show-stopping. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing where I was like, oh, I wish it had been a little bit different. I don't think it's a perfect film, but who cares? Like, it's incredible. It's so much fun. I thought it was really funny. My whole theater was cracking up.
Yeah, we discussed
especially after the first half. Like, I feel like the first half is mostly serious.
Mm-hmm. It's more like set up, and I could tell that going in. I think somebody spoiled that for me on Twitter. It was like, it's kind of slow in the beginning, so I kind of anticipated that. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be so comedic. Mm-hmm. Like, that was not the tone I was expecting. And just like, I would say camp. Like, he knows what he's doing here. I didn't feel like it was like unintentionally funny. I felt like it was very intentional.
Yeah, very. And I think we can all appreciate a serious vampire movie. You know, like I think about The Hunger, Tony Scott's The Hunger. That's like one of my favorite vampire films. Not a whole lot of humor in that one. Interview with a Vampire, not a ton of humor in that one. But to do this, which is like a siege, bloody, I feel like you kind of can't take yourself too seriously, and so I was really glad that the tone kind of takes a big shift.
I feel like on its head, you know, people might say, oh, this is like what Get Out did, and like I feel like a lot of Black people will jump to like, well, you shouldn't compare it to just because it's another Black filmmaker, but I actually think it shares a lot of commonality with that film in the way that it's kind of like a B movie, but it has all this interesting commentary. Like, it seems like everybody online is just dissecting all these themes, and it's just so much fun. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
people are just getting so much from this film, just like not just on an entertainment level.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw this last week, and so it's been almost a week. And the more I think about the movie, the more I'm like, oh my God, I like this more than when I first when I was experiencing it. Because now that I've had time to think about each scene and the characters and the themes. As I was experiencing it, obviously I was having a great time, but I feel like certain things didn't quite like sink in for me in that, 2 hours.
Right.
And
Like
and
what?
yeah, like,
Like what's an example?
well, I mean, a big theme throughout it is the vampires specifically wanting Sammy
Mm-hmm.
because his gift, even though the vampire is a musician
Mm-hmm.
himself, he's not at the same level of being able to like conjure spirits or however you want to interpret what Sammy's music does, right? And he wants to use Sammy in order to connect to the people that he has lost and like his
Mm-hmm.
own past. And a lot has been said in the last few days about Ryan Coogler's deal with WB, where
Mm-hmm.
he made a deal that in 25 years, the rights to this film go back to him and his family, which is
Mm-hmm.
like pretty awesome. And I guess Tarantino had done the same thing with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't remember hearing anything about that at
Oh,
the
I hadn't heard
time.
about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I guess this isn't like super unprecedented, but just the idea of like having a skill that is desirable to other people. And in this example, being a black person and having a skill and having a craft and a trade that's desirable to white people to use for their own fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I think in a legitimate way. Like
Mm-hmm.
the vampire isn't just like, oh, I'm going to use your songs to ensnare more people. Like he wants to connect with people who maybe are
But
hundreds
he
of
wants
years
to do
long
that as
gone.
well. That's what he says. He's like, I want us to build a community. There's been
Right.
like a lot of discussion on whether, because I never even like really thought about it. Because I
Hmm.
remember, I think her name is Grace, and they were like messing with her. They were like, we're gonna get your daughter, and I was just like,
Yeah.
they're just saying stuff. They're just saying whatever. But I'm like, well, I guess once they get Sammy, they might just be like, yeah, let's like just get a whole bunch of people. Like we gotta find more music people. So they might
Hmm.
have, he had plans to expand. That's what they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot more um, since seeing it, and I don't think it's a stretch. I think it's very much there, right on its face,
Yeah, for sure.
saying that. Yeah, and I think it does it in such a way that you don't have to explain it to somebody who might not understand that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Perhaps someone wouldn't come up with that idea on their own. For instance, I am not a black person, and so for me, maybe my mind isn't going exactly to that place.
Oh,
But
for
once that's
real. There's a
presented to
lot of
me,
things in this that I'm not even sure that I'd want to share.
sure, sure, yeah. But for me, like once that's presented to me, I don't have to go, I don't know, that seems like a stretch. You know what I mean? It's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, yes, absolutely, that is in there. And that's just one thing out of many different ideas that are
Mm-hmm.
presented, I think, throughout all of the different characters.
But you're like right on the
And
money
it's,
with that. He's like a culture vulture, honestly. He's like, yeah, I want your
yes,
music.
yeah, which I think is very funny because, you know, Kugler sets up the twins and the blues and Delroy Lindo and all this stuff. And then when the vampires approach, they're playing just like the
Just
corniest,
folk music.
the
Yeah.
corniest.
Oh my
And
god. That was
it's
when I
not,
was like, is this a joke?
yeah.
Is this
Hmm.
I was like,
Hmm.
why would he let this happen? And then I was like, oh no, this is the joke. This is the joke.
And it's not that they're not good at playing or that the song is
Mm-hmm.
necessarily silly in and of itself. It's
Well,
the
no, that first song
contrast.
is. That
Well, I
Robin
mean,
song was.
you're right. That is it's a little. I'm just saying they're not singing a silly song like with silly lyrics like Big Rock Candy Mountain actually is a good example. That's like a stupid silly little folk
What are the
song.
lyrics to Big Rock County Man? Candy Mountain?
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you later. I'll put a link in the show notes maybe if I remember. But even in using that funny song about picking the Robin clean, he then uses it again in a much more sinister way. And again, as the vampires are approaching, they're approaching the building a second time. And now the song has taken on like a whole new, scary, still kind of funny meaning. It's great.
The music was amazing. They were all so talented.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Jack O'Connell, he did his own Irish jig dance. I didn't know he knew how to do that. He could play the banjo. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Did you see that tweet that he said? It was from the interview. He said he felt like Beyonce. Like,
oh my gosh! Wow.
Like they were preparing so much. Like, we have to talk about the Pierce the Veil scene. That was amazing.
To me, there's like two musical scenes, and they both have such different feelings to them, but they both are really captivating. So, yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
So it's Sammy, and he's playing for the first time an original song. He's introduced by Delta Slims, and then he introduces himself. He says, "This is what I'm about." And as he's playing, and this kid, he has the most amazing voice. Apparently, he used to tour with her, and that doesn't surprise me. And this is his first ever role. And so anyway, he's playing, and there's this narration that's talking about, I can't remember the specifics, but saying that there's certain musicians who are just so good, you know, that they can pierce the veil and they can like bring back the ancestors basically of whoever else is like listening. So it's all these different cultures of everybody who's in the juke joint. And it's at first when you're watching it and they're saying it and you're seeing all like, and they said it's not just from the past, it's from the present and it's from the future. And then you're seeing like break dancers and you're seeing people twerking. You're like, this is so silly. But then I was watching, I was like, this is like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I've never wanted to get up and dance more while watching a movie. Like that was beautifully choreographed.
Yes. Great camera work in that scene as well. Because we're floating through the whole juke joint as the people in the present are like working and experiencing it, and these spirits are coming out. It looks so good. But so that voiceover we had heard already in the movie, and I think it might be what starts. Yeah. So we hear it for the second time, and then I believe the first spirit, I don't know what you want to call it. What do you want to call these things? Spirits?
I can't remember the wording, so yeah, we'll call it spirits.
Okay. So the first spirit that you see is of a guitar player from like the funk era. And it just stands out like it was shocking to me because I did not expect this at all.
It was shocking to me too. I laughed.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't laugh. But I just like my whole face like scrunched, and I was like, "What is happening?" And then as it keeps going, it's so silly, but they pulled it off so perfectly that in only a few minutes, it goes from you find it a little silly, confusing, all the way back around to like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
So it's like poetic. Like it feels like like this is like a love letter to like the globe or something.
life and music and like what makes us humans and what it is to also, be in a room with a lot of other people and you're experiencing something And
Really great
it's
music.
like, yeah, like it's a feeling that I think a lot of people have that they wouldn't nail down into this like visual language, and he picks this and runs with it. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. I thought it was insane. Like I you know how we say like movies are a big swing? It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this premise is a real big swing. I feel like that scene was like itself a huge swing, and we got the
Right.
whole arc in just a
Mm-hmm.
few minutes, and it was like he just pulled off a magic trick inside of his own movie.
Yeah, that alone is it just makes the movie for me.
Yeah. Later in the scene, we see the vampires seeing it, and like the whole place is like burned down, and he doesn't stick into that emotional, like sentimental moment and feeling. He also brings us back to like, by the way, this is also a genre film about vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a way of making this movie and including that scene, and you take the vampires completely out of it. There's no
Mm-hmm.
vampires. You tell a story about the South and these brothers, and they're on the run, and there's the KKK, and there's the
Mm-hmm.
preacher's son, and there's the
Yeah,
sin
but
and
I
the
like the
relationships.
vampire element.
I mean, I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
But like everything could almost play out exactly the same. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you could still have that amazing scene, but Coogler is like, no, this is a big movie. This is a silly movie. This is a vampire movie. And
This
again,
is
like he
From Dusk
just
Till Dawn.
well, you know what? I saw that video going around where the guy was
Yeah.
complaining that this is just a ripoff. And you know what I said? As someone who's half Mexican, I said
Mm-hmm.
good, because from Dusk Till Dawn sucks. So if
Mm-hmm.
Coogler if Coogler ripped that off and was able to turn it into Sinners, good job, great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I like From Dusk Till Dawn, but I do think this movie is it far surpasses it, and he
Oh
definitely paid
yeah,
homage to it.
yeah.
So I don't know what that guy was on about. And like even the points he was making,
No,
we don't go into that, but they didn't make any sense.
no.
But when I came out of the theater, the person I went with, we were actually discussing like there were so many similarities to it, that were just kind of
Mm,
funny. Like just so you know how like Tarantino's in it, and then there's the foot thing or whatever, and it feels like
yeah,
this movie is like a cunnilingus thing, you know? It's like, oh, okay, so that's
sure,
his
sure,
fetish that
sure.
he's gonna put in this. I don't know if I can say that on the show.
Sure, you're free to say whatever. Well, I thought it
Okay.
was funny because over the last few years, there's been all of this discussion and back and forth, and what is the place of a sex scene in a film, and are they
Mm-hmm.
necessary? Are they not? And we're currently undergoing a swing back towards puritanical culture
Mm-hmm.
in in at least our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Ryan Coogler was like, all right, how long is this movie? 2 hours and 20 minutes? All right, what do you think? 4 sex scenes? That's good, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's
And
mostly gonna involve licking
right,
the
right.
female
And like
anatomy.
I haven't seen anyone complain about it because the movie is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I haven't seen a single person say, "Oh, Sinners was great, could have used less sex scenes."
Mm-hmm.
And also for the people out there who are like, "Oh, a sex scene isn't necessary for a movie."
They
He
don't even
covered
get
that base
naked.
too. Well, he covered that base too because that's literally how Stack gets turned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, that was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely love the Sammy scene. I love how the music gets added to with more modern music. And like I said, when we first see like the funk player, it's so shocking, and like maybe you laugh or maybe you think it's silly, but what I loved about it was that there's no shame shown in any of the generations. Like you said, there's like a break dancer at one point, and it's not. It just is presented as is. Same thing, with the Asian characters who show up or spirits who show up, and it's showing like their traditional dancing and dress. And I feel like it's all just shown with such respect and like love for past, present, future. It's great.
It felt very affirming. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It felt very like, oh.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I was like, I feel like everybody should get up and dance right now in this theater. Like,
would you say this movie is a musical? Because there's been discussion about that.
I know. I don't care, and I'm not saying that to your question. Like, I'm not saying that to you, Jamila. I don't care if this is a musical or if it's not a musical. But I did laugh to myself, 75% of the way through the movie. I was like, Ryan Coogler really made like a vampire musical. Just kind of like on the sly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to attribute everything to Ryan Coogler. Obviously, he's got a great team of creative people working with him, and the actors and the performers and everyone. But like, this just feels like such a flex of like style and talent to be able to do all these things and have it work. Like, part of the way through the movie, like I said, it really does kind of shift. Like, once it's our main crew locked into the juke joint and they're like making weapons, I feel like it turns into like an 80s, like you were saying, like campy B, and it's not as serious, and it's a little funnier. Delroy Lindo, I feel like at this point, is just running away with the movie with every possible thing that he's saying.
He's amazing. I mean, I was already a fan of him before, but like every time I see him, I'm like, you're not British. Stop lying.
Oh, I know. I will recommend anyone who was captivated by Delroy Lindo in this. The interview he did with Mark Maron was really very interesting, going into his history, the history of his parents in England, coming from Jamaica. Very, very interesting stuff. And yeah, I mean, I rewatched Spike Lee's Da 5 Bloods, and it's like the greatest thing that you've ever seen. Like,
oh, you gotta watch him in
good.
Crooklyn. He plays my dad in that movie.
Oh yeah, literally. So the second big musical scene, this is the Irish people. It's kind of like in like Bring It On or like Drumline, when like when like one of the sides will do their thing and then there's like a responding number. How did you feel about the Irish vampire?
They were amazing. That was so great. It was so like terrifying too. Like I said, like they were doing all of that dancing, all of that banjo playing, and I was so impressed by that. And I kind of felt like the whole movie was kind of like the like folk music versus the blues, It's like you can get with us and sing these traditional Irish folk tunes, or you can sing your really cool blues music,
Yeah, and it was like, it was very scary, like having this whole crowd that was just inside the juke joint, and they were so like free and dancing and singing and eating, and now they're like outside under mind control, but they're still just as lively, but that they're like not fully themselves. Oh my god, it was. But
right.
They're not like
I made a tweet, like by the end of the movie you're like, these vampires are kind of cool. Like, I know she said like their souls are trapped in their bodies, but they know how to party, like. They got like
Yeah,
gold coins and everything.
Right, yes, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, are we going to find out that the gold coins are real, not real? Is this some like vampire magic, you know?
He was saying like this is from like another dimension or something. I was like, oh, okay, what's that about? Didn't he say something like that?
I think he said like another place, another time or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved the way that was shot. It was almost shot like an old like tent revival meeting where, you know, the main vampire dude is like leading everyone in this like spiritual song, and everyone's kind of getting like very like feverish and like nuts, and like it wasn't like a lot of times when we see like group mind control depicted in movies, people are just kind of like drones, or
They
they're
don't look
all
like they're
acting
having
like
fun. Yeah.
right, they're all acting in unison. That's not what this is like. This is like a crazy party of like demon vampires, and it's scary.
But it looks cool.
But it does look So what did you think when Remick, so Remick is the main vampire dude, when he comes back to the door and he explains to them now, he's like, hey, listen, actually, the people that you bought from Hogwood, that they're the KKK and they're going to come back and kill you. And what I'm offering you is like a way out of that, and like all that different stuff. Did you think for a minute that he was like right?
I was yeah, I wasn't like really sure how that was like gonna work. I was like, is he for real? Is this like a metaphor for them, you know, they're gonna kill their spirit or something? And it wasn't even like until the end I was like, oh, okay, he's saying that they're gonna wait until sunrise and then they're gonna shoot them. It's like,
Yeah,
they would have been fine if they had all lived. They had, you know, guns and stuff. Like, I think they would have been fine if they had all lived, you know. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that that's how it all came together, and they might have died.
yeah, because I was like, all right, I know that this is the bad guy. I know it. But he's really convincing. Like he was convincing me, and I think because I didn't know if the vampires were like directly under his control or not. Like if he was making them say those things, then it's like, okay, no. Like case closed, evil guy. But if the people who've been turned into vampires are like, yo, this is actually really cool.
I don't know. All I follow is what Annie said about like, it's like you're not even like, it's like, it just makes it even scary, because I feel like most vampire movies, it's like once you turn, like, you do not exist anymore. You're basically dead or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like you're a different person. She's saying like you're trapped in your body. I don't want to be trapped in my body. That sounds like it sucks.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to disagree with Annie because she's awesome in this
She knows
movie.
her shit. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh man. That was another thing that I thought of as the days went on when I thought about this movie. I was like, I literally want more time with every single character.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I want more. You could have given me 30 more minutes with Annie, 30 more minutes with Delta Slim. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't anyone in there that I wasn't interested in. You know, the grocers, I was like, how did you get here? What is your story? You run two grocery stores across from each other.
He consulted some historian. Yeah, it was really
no, historically, yes, but like specifically these two characters.
Oh, these two characters.
I'm very interested in why they're doing what they're doing. Mainly just running two grocery stores across from each other. Like,
well, I mean, it was because of segregation.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's
you
like,
just blew my mind.
because they're not black, they're not white, so it's like,
Right.
well, we can make double the money, you know.
Right. I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. This movie
notice.
is incredible because he brought all the specialists for this movie.
Right.
He poured so much love into it, and it's just really good. You know, I wouldn't say it's just some dumb genre movie. It's It's
Right.
like chock full
No.
of all this insight and
Yeah.
history.
Yeah. But it can still be a dumb
A
genre
dumb genre
movie.
movie.
And in doing so, like, I feel like I don't like to use hyperbolic language. It's everyone's excited about Sinners, so we're all like, it's the greatest thing ever. But like, I really feel like in doing this movie, he did do partially what Jordan Peele did with Get Out, which is be like,
He
hey,
did.
by the way, you can make a movie like this better, and it can still be all of these things that we like, but it can have a brain, and it can just be very like rich with ideas.
Right.
And I feel bad for anyone making a vampire movie currently that
That's something I actually like. I was like, okay, once this movie comes out and does well, I actually have I have like a commitment to do this. If you like this movie, you have to watch AMC's Interview with a Vampire because it does a very similar thing,
oh, sure.
and it updates
Yeah.
the film and the novel. It's a very smart show, and you gotta watch it.
All right, you heard Jamila. That's your homework. I was really beating around the bush about disagreeing with Annie. So let's go back to that. She says, they're
Okay.
trapped in their bodies. But aren't we trapped in our bodies?
You're crazy.
No, I'm just saying, like, she's like, oh, they're trapped in their bodies unless you kill them. And I thought to myself, well, like, that's me right now.
I think
though.
she means trapped in their bodies. Like, it's like it's like Get Out. It's like, hey, I'm here. I can't, listen to me. Like, that kind of trapped in my body. It's like Get Out. Like that kind of being trapped in their bodies.
Right. Trapped in your body. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. But then when we do the epilogue,
I know.
and
it's weird.
Mary and Stack show up, they seem pretty happy.
I mean, they seem happy. It doesn't mean that that's how it really is.
Like, he was like, yeah, that was the last time I saw the sun. And I was like, I don't like the sun, so this would be an okay life with me. I don't know. I've always said, like, if I could be a vampire, I would. Like, live forever, be cool, have money. Yeah, of course. You wouldn't want to be a vampire?
I mean, when you watch, like, Interview with the Vampire, like, because my thing is, like, okay, there's the ethical thing, so do I kill humans? And yeah, it's like, yeah, I'd like to kill, like, Elon Musk or whatever, but, like, that would kind of ruin my anonymity, So it's like I have to kill not as evil humans from time to time to survive. And if I don't do that, then I'm going to have to live off of, like, vermin. I don't want to eat rats all my life. I know I would enjoy it, but I don't like the idea of enjoying that.
There's a great movie, humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person.
Yeah, that's on my watch list.
Yes, it deals with this exact thing. It's like, I need blood, and you want to kill yourself, so let's, we'll work together.
Oh, damn. Wow,
it's a
that's
funny.
Interesting.
It's a very funny movie. But I'm just saying,
does she like
there's
move to
options.
like Sweden or something? Because they have that like
right, life termination.
Yeah,
thing.
assisted. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Anyway.
If I'm there, maybe I would jump out of the juke joint and be like, okay, turn me into a vampire. But that's
so
just
you can
me.
play some cool music, yeah.
I
Do a little
guess
Irish
so, yeah.
jig.
Get some gold, I guess.
Get some gold.
Yeah. So
wait, no. Did you watch this movie and just think like, what do you think? Like, do you think Steve Martin was locked in to this movie?
Steve Martin? Oh, because of the banjo playing?
The banjo.
It's possible. It's possible. He is a very good banjo player, and Jack O'Connell, right?
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with him?
I just watched Eden Lake for the first time, maybe 2 weeks ago, and he's the lead like psychopath kid in that, and I mean that was years ago, so he was like a kid, But then watching him in this,
so you never watched him on Skins?
No, I've never seen that.
You never watched him on Skins? Do you know this about
I've
Skins? There are so many like currently like famous, really good actors who came off of Skins.
I am aware of that. Yeah, Skins is like the updated version of Freaks and Geeks, where everyone on it is now really
No,
famous.
Skins is like the original Euphoria.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask you a question, not to pivot hard. I wanted to ask you a question. Part of the way through the movie, the first half of the movie is like getting the band back together, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
we're we're pulling in all the different characters, and I think it's done in a very nice, um, it's done in a nice way. Like the introduction with Smoke and Annie is just it's so painful. They lost a child together. He is really struggling with faith in what she has like devoted her life to because it didn't work for their kid. That's me. I know that the dance scene, the music scene is like the greatest scene in the movie, but their scenes together when they first come together, I was just like I was so in pain, and maybe it's because I have kids,
Mm-hmm.
but like it was amazing. It was, oh my god, it was so good. And then it all comes, it all boils down to he's like, hey, I need somebody to make food for 100 people. Can you please do it? And she says yes, she agrees.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they get a piano player, and they get somebody to make the food, they get the grocers, they get the people to serve alcohol, whatever. It's all like coming together. And then in the midst of this, you have the vampire just running towards the house like on fire, basically pursued by these Choctaw vampire hunters, question mark. What
Yeah.
did you think about this?
I thought they were dope. And I loved that they were the smartest characters in this movie, Annie aside. Um, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh, we gotta get this. Listen to us, KKK people." Like they actually cared about those KKK people. They're like,
Yeah.
"Listen, you got like a leech in the air," and they were like, "Nope, nope, we're whatever." And they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, it's about to get dark," and he was like, "Okay." He prayed for them in his language, and then he peaced out.
Mm-hmm.
Baller.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. They're gonna come back at the end. Never
No.
see them again. And it's interesting because you were talking about like this idea of like a culture of blah, blah, blah. You were talking about this idea of a culture vulture, and it's like I don't know that these were necessarily vampire hunters. That's the impression that I got at first. And then as the movie went on,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, maybe these are just people who like wised up to what was happening in their community, and they've
Maybe.
obviously forced him out. He's running from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he was out of their hair, they were like, oh, let's move on with.
I mean, they tried to help her, but she was like, "Nope,
the,
I'm not leaving."
yeah, even after seeing the KKK stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
like the film shows us that he clearly sees the stuff in the house, and he's still like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know, we can help you if you want. And they're like, nope, no, thank you. But yeah, I don't want to say like, oh, I want to see that story, but again, I wanted to spend more time. Like, did the movie feel long to you?
No, it didn't. But when I'm
No,
really
me either.
enjoying a movie, it doesn't. Maybe
Yeah,
towards the beginning, it just kind of felt like I want us to get to the meat. I want us to
yeah.
get to the juke joint. But I wouldn't
Hmm.
say it felt really long. I do feel like it needed some editing, and we can get towards that, but not because it felt long, just because there was like a lot of sequences where it was like, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. Um,
Yeah,
but what I was going to say is, you know, I read that he wanted this film to be like a finished product, which I understand, especially in this day and age, and especially with like an original film. Like
yeah.
that's really great. I don't want that. I want I want it to, cuz there's so much world building in this movie. And there's so many avenues you can take. It doesn't even have to be a film. It could be a show. It could be. I need to know more about these characters because this is fascinating. We never get black films like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see more of these characters.
It feels like, and I'm not comparing this in terms of quality at all, but when you watch like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it feels like you just drop into a story with established characters and established places, and it's a whole world that like already exists. This feels like that. I think Sinners is
a pretty good
movie.
Comparison. I resent the idea that you think it's a bad movie.
No. I said a better movie than Raiders.
Yeah, I resent the idea that you think Raiders is a bad movie.
I don't think Raiders is a bad movie, but that's a question for another time. Yeah, no, I didn't think that this movie was long at all. It was just announced, I think today, that the new Mission Impossible is going to be like almost 3 hours long. It's going to be like 2 hours and 51 minutes or something. Why could Sinners
I thought you were going to say they were
going
to make another one.
No. God, hopefully not. But like, why could Sinners not be... You said it was going to be
the final reckoning.
Right.
Kill that man.
Yes, please.
But not for real.
Speaking of kill that man, Smoke does not kill Stack. How did you feel about that?
I mean, it's kind of funny. I thought it was really funny at the end when they're fighting each other and he's just talking to him. It's like, boy, she told you that's not your brother. You're just having like a conversation with him. I don't know. So he obviously just could not let go of the fact that this person was a variant of his brother and he didn't want to kill him. But I'm surprised that he kept her alive too. Mary's character.
Right. I guess he just couldn't bring himself to do it. But at the same time, listening to Annie, it's like he does kill Annie. Because she says
she asked.
Yeah, like you need to free me. And so he must understand on some level, like it's a curse to be this. So why wouldn't he want to free his brother?
There's also the thing of they want to be with their kid.
Right. Yeah, that's true. How did you feel about when the movie is over and then it's not over because we have to kill the KKK?
Yeah, when he first brought that up, when Remick first brought that up, I thought that was not really happening. Not because I thought he was lying. I thought it was like a metaphor, like, we're going to kill you eventually. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's what he meant. And it's actually funny, in the scene where the lead, what do they call them? Grand Wizards or whatever. So stupid.
Yeah, Grand Dragon, Grand Wizard, yeah.
He's selling them the juke joint, and he's like, they're saying something about the KKK, and he's like, the KKK does not exist. And I just laughed.
Okay. So I saw this Thursday night. Yep. I was one of 2 non-black people in the theater, and it was very full. Like
it was all black people? Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. Well, so you know how you have to buy seats ahead of time now?
Mm-hmm.
So I picked a seat just totally randomly, and it turns out that I sat next to the only other non-black person in the theater. But anyway, when that guy said that line, the KKK doesn't exist anymore, I let out the biggest guffaw laugh. And no one else laughed. And then I was like, oh no.
No, that's terrible.
No. Was I not supposed to laugh? Because it's just it's such a stupid statement, and it's something that people still say today.
Right.
Meanwhile, yes, they do still exist to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I said that there was 1 or 2 things in this that I didn't love. I actually didn't love opening with Sammy already coming.
Yeah, no, because you already know he survives. I mean, it looked kick-ass, but I don't, it would have been more terrifying if we were like, oh my god, are they actually going to turn him?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't that be actually kind of fun ending though, if he got turned?
Well, I think when they come back to him, you're like, oh my gosh, is this going to happen, now?
I thought that too.
And he's lived his whole life. I was very touched that he named his club Perlene's.
Perline.
And then you think maybe they're going to
enjoyed her that much. Like...
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, Sammy was just he was a preacher boy, and that was the best night of his life. And I think he says that too. He's like, he
does say that.
Before all that stuff happened, it's the best day of my life, right? But yeah, when they go to walk away, and he's like, hey, wait a minute. I thought he was going to be like, actually, yeah, turn me into a vampire.
Too, yeah. I thought it was so funny. He was like, you know what? I've seen enough of this world. Like, I feel that, bro.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, absolutely, man. If you're old.
I thought they were just going to kill him anyway. I was surprised. Because he said, Smoke said, oh, my brother said I need to allow you to live out the rest of his days. Right. This man old. He lived it out.
Yeah, he lived out the rest of his days, pretty much. But then I was like, why would you kill him? At this point, it's like, you're so far removed. You know what I mean? Like, are you bearing a grudge against this guy?
Did you have a reaction? Because I definitely did because it's going to be them, and they're going to be modern looking, or in whatever era that was, and then he comes out and he looks like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like
yeah
I was like, oh my god.
I think that kind of goes back to the idea of all the different spirits in the scene, where it's a little shocking when you first see like Michael B. Jordan, and he's got like the high top hair and the reins that go all across.
Radio Raheem.
Right. Right, exactly. But then I was like, oh, but you know what? This is how people dressed at a certain point, and this was cool.
I loved it. It's like I said, it's camp. It's fun.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like Ryan Coogler is like, gee, isn't this ridiculous? It's just kind of funny to us because, we think of it as being from a different time. But all right, so one of the things that we're talking about in this movie is the character of Mary. She is a white woman, and she has a black grandparent, and she is the one who is leaving the juke joint to talk to the vampires.
She's like a bridge for them.
Right. And then she is the one who comes back into the juke joint and brings the vampirism, inside. So how did you take that? How much are we reading into what Coogler might be saying there about the idea of like, preying on a community?
Ooh, I don't want to get in trouble.
I mean,
I think there's many ways.
Nobody's going to get us in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, at first it's like, you could say like Mary is like an ally, and she has that kind of rapport with them. And also she says, because her mother was with her father, who was of mixed race, she had that understanding, and she nursed Smoke and Stack. And so they all, I guess, got along as much as you can with black people during the Jim Crow era. And she felt that way as well. And she's in love with Smoke. But at the end of the day, she's a white woman, and she doesn't understand the gravity of things pertaining to race. And it's kind of analogous to people who are allies to the black community, who are trying to do right, but end up screwing us up,
Yeah.
I think that's a fair interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, she's convinced that she can, like you said, be a bridge. Like, it's not scary for her to approach these white people where I can't remember if it's Smoke or Stack says, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, we'll let them in and they'll be cool. But what happens when someone steps on their foot or when we look at them for too long or anything? And like, they are so hyper aware that like, I mean, when they go to the train station, I believe at that point he's with Stack. Yeah. Stack is like, don't like, just keep your head down. Like,
Don't look at her.
Don't look at her. Don't look at somebody. And so, you know, they have to be aware of the dangers of literally just being around white people at that point, because a white person can say anything about you. And then, of course, you know, Delta Slim's story about getting all of this money, and his friend is accused of, you know, killing a white person, and that's the only way that he possibly could have. And that's it. That's judge, jury, and executioner. The trial is all just based on accusations. That's all that it takes, is an accusation, and then he's lynched right in public. Mary doesn't have that. She doesn't have any of that. And she's not aware that she's in danger on a whole other level. Yeah, I guess maybe I don't want to get in trouble either, but
no, I think I really didn't think we were gonna get into all that, and I was like okay with that.
Sure, yeah.
So, but I think we really covered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you think of Haley Steinfeld's performance?
I thought that she was great. I mean, I appreciate her as an actor. I think that she's shown she can do pretty much everything, really.
Yeah.
And I really liked her in this. I thought that she was funny. I did not like going into this knowing that she was going to be a vampire.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, because like I had seen stills of her, like, you know, full vampire mode, and I was like, I wish that had been, you know, kept for a surprise, but oh well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would change anything for me.
What did you think of her?
So our friend Cosmo, I think, put it best. Like, so like, yeah, we talk about her. You know, she is a white woman, but she feels like a black woman in this movie, or like she feels like somebody who grew up around black people in this movie, and I was really surprised by that, especially with some of her deliveries.
Yeah, she's great. She has some great like laugh out loud lines, and then she plays a good vampire too. You know who
plays a good vampire?
You know who I didn't fully believe is a vampire?
Who?
Michael B. Jordan.
Really?
I thought he did so good in this, and this was one of the first times where you've got, you know, one dude playing twins. I think of like Adaptation, you know, or what was that Tom Hardy one?
The Parent Trap.
Well, I guess The Parent Trap.
Comparing this to The Parent Trap.
what was the Tom Hardy one a few years back where he plays like the two
I didn't
brothers?
see that.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking about.
This was the first time where I was like, genuinely, like.
So you weren't impressed at all by his performance?
No, like I felt like I didn't see the seams of that. Like I don't want to go as far as to say
him being a vampire. Yeah.
No, I just mean like overall his performance. Like I thought it was really good, and I don't want to go as far as to say like, oh, I felt like I was watching two totally different actors in every scene, but I did feel like there was just enough difference between Smoke and Stack to where yes, they're identical twins. They're very, very similar, but they're also very different. I thought he pulled all that off wonderfully. But then like Stack as the vampire, like dancing and like being outside the door trying to be like, yo, it's cool, become a vampire like me. I was like, this is a little much.
I know. So like I guess I agree with you in the fact that like when I think about him being turned into a vampire, I don't have a lot of like iconic moments. For me, it was the other characters being vampires. They were cracking me up, and they were like
Gosh,
freaking me out.
Cornbread. Cornbread was great, really, just in every scene.
Right.
Yeah, like when
how he's introduced.
Oh my god, that was insane.
I feel so bad for his wife. His poor wife. She was like, "Get money, honey," and now she got nothing.
Well, right, but I did think it was pretty funny that he was all like ready to, you know, defend his wife's honor and all this stuff, and then she's like, "Well, hold on."
She's like,
"How much money?
Let's get paid." Let's get the bag.
Which, yeah, of course. Like, you guys have to fill a cotton quota every day. Like, yeah, go see what this money is about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Cornbread ruled. We already mentioned Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim. Just, God, so funny. So incredibly funny.
He has an incredible sacrifice scene, too.
Yes.
I was not expecting that. I was like, oh.
I compared Delroy Lindo in this to Toshiro Mifune in Seven Samurai. And if you haven't seen Seven Samurai, just go watch it. But yeah, Delroy Lindo absolutely rules in this. And then Annie's played by Wunmi Masaku, who I've only seen in a few other things, but like, God, she was so good in this. I was really sad when she died. Like, I'm
familiar with her too, and I've been waiting for her to be put on, so I'm really glad it's happening now.
Yeah. What did you think of when Smoke sees her and the kid as he's dying?
I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that he's seeing them, he's seeing the light, and then the KKK guy is like, "Hey,
yeah,
I'll give you money," and he's like literally like captivated. He's like, "Oh wait a sec,
yeah,
gotta do something, and then I can hold my baby." I thought they were so great together. Yeah, they had really great chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't really talk about her that much, but Jamie Lawson as Perline, I was also really interested in her as a character. She's married, but she's showing up to the juke joint. She's singing. Her song was also crazy. Like when she was like almost like crawling across the stage, but like dragging herself across the stage.
Right.
I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
She is amazing. She was like Suge Avery to an 11. Like, and it's so crazy that this movie is so good that you almost forget about that scene. Like, you're like, she literally got eaten out and she was like, I'm gonna sing. Like, I'm gonna deliver.
Are you familiar with her before this?
I don't think so. What else has she been in? I just was like, damn, she's so pretty.
She was in, as soon as I say these movies, you'll probably be like, oh yeah, I did see her. She was in The Batman, apparently. She was in The Woman King.
She was the mayor. Oh, she was in The Woman King. Who was she in The Woman King?
She was in Till.
Who was she in The Woman King?
She was Shantae. So
I'll have to rewatch The Woman King.
Yeah. I think this also has, kind of goes without saying, but like just a great soundtrack, great score. I've been listening to it as I'm, washing dishes. And walking around my house.
Are you familiar with this composer at all?
Yeah, so it's Ludwig Göransson, who just won the Oscar for Oppenheimer last year.
What did you think about Grace letting them in?
I think it had to happen one way or another. I
mean, it had to happen for the plot, but
yeah, it had to happen one way or another, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know what that means. If we're looking at the meaning behind different actions, I don't know what that means, but.
What do you mean by that?
Well, just what does it mean for, to have a room full of black people and the one person in there is
so we're talking about the deeper. I just meant I thought she was an asshole. Because, girl, if you wanted to go home and take care of your kid, go. You know you're going to die, and you know he wasn't going to mess with your kid that night.
I don't
But
know
then
that he
I was
wasn't
seeing a
going to
lot of
mess
discussion of people. He wasn't going to mess with her. At least not that night.
One of the things
Maybe
that happens,
later.
one of the things that happens is all the vampires know what all the vampires know. And so why wouldn't, where else are they going to go? They got to find some shelter, right?
Because they want to be there because they want to get Sammy.
Come back another, Sammy, get Sammy another day.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think he would have done that. He was just messing with her.
The only reason I don't really fault her is because, like I said, it had to happen some way. And I think at that point, you can correct me if I'm wrong, at that point, the only person inside who had someone outside was Grace, right?
Yeah, well, Smoke was outside.
Right. But apart from him. So I guess that kind of explains why it was her, but I didn't fault her too much.
I thought it was so funny how the vampires were, like, such bad actors. Like, when she sees her husband after he's been turned, and he's like,
gosh.
Come on, honey.
Right.
We gotta go to the car.
Right.
And, like, Cornbread is eating that guy's face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I guess Cornbread's hungry.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
you couldn't even pretend like you're human?
Right.
You forgot how to be human?
He should have been like,
oh my god, what's happening? We gotta go!
Yeah, be like, come on, quick, hurry, quick. I'm the only one who hasn't been turned into a vampire. Hurry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's funny. It's very funny. And the whole like, oh, vampires can't come in unless you invite them, which I saw some people online saying like that was like a new idea to them.
For all the great online takes, there's some
yeah.
ones, so
but there was like, it was like, they were like, okay, how can we play with this idea like as much as possible and it's still funny? Like I feel like they exhausted that joke as much as they possibly could, and it never stopped being funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've been going for half the time of Sinners, so it might be time to stop.
Like maybe we should go like a full out. No.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved this movie. I thought it was great. I still haven't, given it any kind of rating yet, but I think it's a ton of fun. This is definitely the best movie I've seen so far in 2025. And I just love the idea that he got away with everything that he got away with in this. It feels so seamless. It feels like everything feels so necessary. Everything feels so well done, like stylistically. It doesn't feel like any type, like nothing feels like, oh, this was really like emotionally manipulative, or oh, this was really
actually
just reaching,
I disagree.
Trying to be funny.
Yeah, there were some parts that I forgot. I forgot to mention. There were some parts where it's like, how many times do you have to show us flashbacks of things that we already saw? Like towards the end, when he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a day where," like, yeah, no, you already did that. They kept showing like these like flashbacks. I didn't like that. I feel like he could have edited that out.
Did you want to eat the fish?
That was too sentimental. Did I want to eat the fish? Oh, yeah. Annie's fish. Yeah, of course.
Oh man, when they finally showed that fish, I was like, dude, I need to go get some fish after this.
Did you get some fish?
No, it was like 2 a.m. So I think the only place open was Wendy's. And I got pulled over on the way home. They were doing a sobriety check because it was so late at night. And so they were pulling over everybody.
Slam
right. No. But I pulled up and the cop was like, "Hey, where are you coming from?" I was like, the movies.
Sinners.
And he said, "Oh, did you see that Skinner's movie?" And I said, "Sinners?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "Skinner's? Why did I call it Skinner's?" "Yeah, Sinners." "Okay, you can go." But I told him, I was like, "Yes, I saw it and you should go see it too." And he was like, "Okay."
I also want to say I saw this in IMAX in 70 millimeter. And it was like the biggest screen in LA. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. Was your theater real full?
Yes. In fact, when we got there, it's actually really funny. it's at the Universal Studio parking area. I don't know everything. And the attendant who let us in, she was like making conversation with us. She was really sweet. And I saw this tweet where somebody was like, I wasn't late, or like I didn't get to see the movie because it was booked out. It was because the parking attendant just kept being chatty with everybody at this particular theater. And I was like, oh, like she was really sweet. I probably wasn't even the same person, but I was like, she gave us the ticket and then we went off and it was fine. So I don't know. But yeah, it was really great. The colors are great. It's giant, massive.
Yeah, the movie looks it looks incredible. Great job to everyone involved. Great job, Ryan Coogler. And hopefully he gets to continue making whatever movies and he gets to own them after 25 years. I heard he wants to
adapt, like, revive the X-Files.
Okay, so I heard that before going to see Sinners, and during that epilogue, I was like, oh, of course this guy wants to make the X-Files. This feels like, an episodic sci-fi fantasy kind of like ending to a TV episode. Like, so you know what? If he wants to do it, good for him.
Yeah, get that bag.
Well, hey, Jamila, thank you very much. And where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter.
What's your name?
At Wildcat and Wow, like the Royal Tenenbaums. And I think my letterbox is like Intrepid Commentator. I should probably change my name. I don't like it.
All right. Well, you can't now, but
I can't?
You can do whatever you want. Hey, and you know what? You can do whatever you want, including giving us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Please let us know what you thought about Sinners, what you thought about The Fish, maybe what you thought about Delroy Lindo, whatever. That's cool. We'd love to hear from you. And yes, Jamila, thank you so much for joining me. This was great.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for listening. Till next time, have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.